Weeks ago, you got in that apology based on get more respect.
Com raiva, tava só comentando a numeração no ranking. Na verdade, eu só falei a minha opinião. Eu acho que é uma grande merda, não faz sentido algum. Todo mundo tem agora o Michael Chandler acima de mim e ele foi nocauteado em pouco tempo. Então, para mim, ranking é bullshit grande.
For me, those rankings are number one bullshit. I wasn't actually really angry. I was just giving my opinion that it's kind of bullshit that you guys got Michael Chandler fighting for the UFC title, yet just a few months ago I knocked him out in under a minute. And I mean, if the second winningest fighter in Bellator is going over to the UFC and fighting for a title, how are you gonna have? It's absurd to have him, the person who knocked him out, ranked at 21.
O que mudou agora? Ele só tem uma luta no UFC. O que mudou?
What changed? There was only one fight in the UFC against a city kickboxer. What changed to make him to make such a big difference or separation between himself and him and Chandler?
Yeah, to build off that Chandler that you just mentioned, if he wins the title, what do you think that says for not only you, but the entire Bellator roster, is that he's a longtime Bellator guy that would now be the champion in another organization?
Se ele ganha, o que isso significa? Se ele ganha o título do UFC, porque ele...
Significa que o UFC vai ter que engolir que ele tem um lutador inferior ao campeão do Bellator, da categoria de baixo.
It means that the UFC is going to have to suck it up, that they got the second best lightweight in the world, who lost to a guy that was coming up from a smaller weight class. They're going to have to realize that the pound-for-pound best fighter is not in the UFC. He's in Bellator. And his name is Patricio Pitbull.
Harry, go ahead.
Hey, Patricio. Harry Mack from the Bookie's Basement. So I just wanted to ask you, you've been the betting favorite for 4 straight fights in Vegas, going back to the Michael Chandler fight was the last time that you were an underdog, actually. So I just wanted to ask, is that something that you just kind of get used to, or is being expected to come out on top every time something that kind of adds a little more pressure to your fights?
Você sempre era o favorito nos últimos 4 lutas. Você está acostumado com isso?
Não presta atenção nisso, não ligo para isso. Presta no meu adversário, isso para mim de favorito e zebra não atrai minha atenção.
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to that. I just to pay attention to who is in front of me and the strategies and tactics I need to execute to beat them.
James, go ahead.
Hey guys, this is James here from Strictly MMA. Just one question for you. Emmanuel was in here earlier. He was on he's on a 3-fight win streak now since the last time you guys met in the cage. He says he feels he's grown as a fighter. He's made the adjustments. He's changed up his game. From what you guys have seen, do you feel you're going to be dealing with a whole different kind of an Emmanuel come Friday night?
Emmanuel falou que ele mudou muito. Você acha que ele é o mesmo ou você vai enfrentar cara novo, diferente?
Não subestimo ele, sei que ele pode trazer uma guerra. Ele é muito dinâmico, traz uma pressão muito forte. Uma das lutas mais duras que eu tive, mas ele não evoluiu tecnicamente. Ele pode ter ficado mais forte mentalmente, mas tecnicamente ele é o mesmo lutador.
I haven't underestimated him. Emmanuel Sanchez has given me one of the toughest fights. He's very dynamic. He brings a lot of pressure. He probably has gotten better mentally, but technically he's still the same fighter. But the results will also still be the same, and this time I plan to finish him.
Augusto?
Hey, Patricio. Hey, Eric. How are you?
Good, my friend. How are you?
I want to ask you 2 questions, Patricio. First one, well, you have already said that you will finish him, and on your first bout you were close, but you couldn't. So what do you think was missing that time, and what have you been working to make it happen this time? And my second question is, I want to know if you are going to be watching Michael Chandler's fight on May the 15th, or you don't care. Thank you.
Porque você não nocauteia, quase nocauteou, mas não consegui nocautear. É a última luta, porque você mudou para conseguir nocautear ele
Paciência.
dessa vez. He's more patience. Patience is his answer. And se você vai assistir a luta de Michael Chandler.
Claro, ele é meu representante número 1 no UFC, claro que eu vou assistir.
Yes, he's the number one representative of the.
Patricio Pitbull.
Yes, of course I'm gonna Yes, of course I'm gonna watch the fight. Michael Chandler is the number one representative of Patricio Pitbull right now.
Damon, go ahead.
Hey, Eric and Patricio. Let me start with this one. I know your focus is Emmanuel Sanchez, but I do want to get your thoughts on AJ McKee in the finals. And where do these two wins potentially put you in terms of your career? You've already accomplished a lot, but what would it mean to beat Emmanuel and AJ in back-to-back fights?
O que vai significar se você bate Emmanuel Sanchez e invicto AJ McKee consecutivo ganhar o título?
Comprovar que todo mundo já sabe, eu sou o número 1.
It's going to prove what everybody already knows, that I'm number one.
And last one, we've seen Bellator has added a lot of talent to the roster lately, especially with the light heavyweight Grand Prix. Is there any part of you that hopes that Bellator starts pursuing more, free agent featherweights and lightweights to challenge you to kind of bring some new talent into the divisions as you are the double champ?
O Bellator está destinando muitas pessoas. Olha o torneio de meio pesados. Você está querendo que Bellator leva mais caras talentos nas suas categorias?
Eu já batei 4 ou 5 gerações do peso pena e arranquei a cabeça do melhor peso leve de todos da história do Bellator, e não me importa quantos mais caras eles vão adicionar, vou bater em todos.
I've already beaten 4 to 5 generations of Bellator's best fighters. I went up a weight class and took off the head of the greatest lightweight in history. Really doesn't matter who they bring in. I'll beat them all.
Jim, go ahead.
Hey, Jim Barcelona, Miami Herald, a coach, and Pitbull. Just curious, what does Pitbull think of the format of the Grand Prix, and how exciting is it to have this type of situation tournament in Bellator?
O que você acha de torneio que você está dentro do Grand Prix e fala sobre como você gosta de torneios?
A prova de fogo, né? Eu sou campeão, poderia ter escolhido ficar de fora e enfrentar apenas o desafiante, mas eu coloquei minha cabeça botei meu citrão em jogo em todas as lutas que eu estou entrando, né? Todo mundo que aceita fazer isso. Sou movido a desafio, eu acho que foi o mais interessante para mim foi isso, é muito bom poder estar numa posição de privilégio e mesmo assim me colocar em uma situação de perigo.
The tournaments these guys get baptized by fire. It's you get the true representative of the weight class when they become champion. I've won a couple of these tournaments, and hopefully now.
Eu podia ter ficado de fora e entrei então hoje.
Oh yes, and I was in a privileged position as the world champion, but I put myself in danger, and I put myself into the tournament. I'm the only person in this tournament that has prepared for 5 rounds for every fight, every single fight. And I chose that to be put in that position.
And lastly, Coach Eric, and obviously with weight and all, that's always a thing with fighters and everything. But if there was anybody that could hold 3 belts, is Pitbull the one?
Well, I've considered Pitbull to being the pound for pound the best fighter on the planet, most complete, black belt in striking, black belt in wrestling, black belt on the ground. He's proven by taking off the Michael Chandler. He took off his head in a minute. So, I mean, I think What's the last part of your question, Jim? Hello? Did I miss him? What was the last part of his
Jim,
question?
can you repeat that last part?
Okay, here we go. It was unmuted. I was muted. Yeah, just the part that if there was anyone out there that could hold 3 belts, Pitbull
Right.
could be the one.
Right. So from pound to pound, I mean, at 145 and 155, all it would take would be really the diet, because he's the only one that's beaten Juan Archuleta, if I'm not mistaken, at least in Bellator. And Juan Archuleta is the champ at 135, and he dominated him at 145. And to tell you the truth, if you put Juan Archuleta next to Patricio, he's bigger than him. So Juan Archuleta is bigger than Patricio Pitbull. So you know this, Jim. Jim, you know this, Jim Barcelona. I've known you since high school. You know I'm into winning titles, triple titles, 3 championships. If anybody can do it, trust me, it's Patricio Pitbull.
Yes, thank you, Eric.
Put up the 2 champs, triple champs against anybody.
All right, Max.
Hi, I'm Max Morales from MMA Pit. Hi, Eric. Hi, Patricio. So, almost 5 years as undefeated. Now you are the champ. Fighters come up with different game plans to go against you. So, how have been this run for you, and how different do you expect this part 2 with Emmanuel would go?
Você era campeão por 5 anos já. Como isso, você esperava isso, que quando no início da sua carreira que você vai durar como campeão para tão longo, e como vai ser diferente essa luta?
Sim,
com Emmanuel Sanchez?
sim, eu programei minha vida para isso. E dessa vez eu vou terminar a luta.
Yeah, I trained my whole life for this. I programmed myself to put myself in this position. And this time against Emmanuel Sanchez, I'm going to finish the fight.
And the second question, you've been very vocal about your victory against Michael Chandler. So what do you have to say about the now challenger for that belt?
O que você tem que falar sobre o Chandler, que está lutando pelo título mundial no UFC?
Ele vai lá, vai ser campeão do UFC e vai ser meu representante número 1. Vai mostrar a minha força.
He's gonna go into that fight, become the UFC world champ, and become Patricio Pitbull's #1 representative, showing his strength.
All right, guys. Thanks for the time and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Where